Have you ever looked back at all the time you spent worrying about things that you now realize didn't matter that much?
I think that's called getting older.
Or maybe finally getting a little smarter?
Either way, certain things that used to keep us awake at night barely make a blip on our radar now.
Career titles, money milestones, being respected by everybody.
Winning arguments, body image, and the big one, pretending like you've got it all figured out.
And maybe it's not even about getting wiser. Maybe getting older just pushes us to stop wasting energy on things that were never that important to begin with.
It also teaches us that the things that actually do matter are easy to overlook unless we make an effort not to.
That's right. When I look back now, the things that matter most weren't the things I chased. They were the simple moments right in front of me.
For many people, jobs feel like identity at certain stages of life. Did you ever feel like your identity was tied to your job?
Well, I might have been an outlier. I know it's true that a lot of people equate identity with their career, but for me, I had multiple careers. The two main ones were TV and trucking, but I did things other than that. So for me, at least, I never really equated my identity to my job. For me, it was just more about earning a living. As you know, I never liked working for other people. The only times I've truly been happy is when I'm working for myself. So, no, for me personally, I didn't equate my careers with my identity
Right.
much.
So for me, kind of the same thing, right? I guess if I think of myself as, having a role would be as an educator, right? A broader
Right.
spectrum, because being a teacher or an instructor or, a dean, no, it's really more of my identity as an educator, which hopefully is lifelong, right? We're always learning. Hopefully, we're always teaching somebody else something.
Yeah, I feel like, titles are less important than how you lived your life.
For sure. And now we know people who retire and they think that they're going to be, indispensable for that job. And, very quickly, people move on.
I mean, it leaves your head reeling how fast a business moves on without that person who thought they were indispensable. It's like, yeah, most businesses move on and don't miss a beat.
Very
So
true.
I think that's maybe just a reminder of why maybe we shouldn't equate so much of our identity and or our self-worth to our career. I mean, it's fine for it to be important, but for it to be a very part of our identity, maybe not.
Very true. Now, unfortunately, we tend to learn that with time.
That's true yet again. So, in the years we've been together, I've watched your money management skills improve in leaps and bounds, mostly because you just took a genuine interest in it. And I'm not ashamed to say that you are in charge of the financial aspect of our household, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
I love it too. And
Hmm.
and it's interesting because neither one of us, and that's why we, make a good couple. It's so focused on material things, right? We just
Yeah.
like, to be comfortable, to have some safety, to have some money to do certain things, but we're not into fancy cars or jewelry or
Yeah.
clothes.
I think we're both more focused on having experiences rather than having things, and I'm happy that we're on the same page there.
Yeah, but for some people, actually getting a bigger car or a bigger house, that's really a goal, right? And then you realize that, as you get older, that's not as important.
Yeah, yeah, but nothing like that ever lasts. And I mean, obviously, money does solve some problems, and I think money is important up to a point. But after that point, I've always felt that it's highly overrated. It's like you get so much money, and I've seen this with some of the wealthy bosses I've had or people I've worked with. It's like having too much money creates problems too.
Right. So actually, that is proven, right? So some years ago, I took a free Coursera course by Dr. Laurie Santos, The Science of Well-Being. So actually, it's documented how there's a certain point where beyond that, even if you make more money, you're not going to be happier.
And I mean, that I've heard so many people say, if I made X amount of money, well, then I'd be happy. And I've seen it time and time again. When people do get that certain amount of money they thought would make them happy, well, they alter their standard of living to the point where, okay, they need just a little more now.
They change that goal.
Yeah.
Very true. So again, with time, it's important to consider the things that are really important. And a certain amount of money in the bank is not necessarily it. Being respected by everybody is something that we shouldn't really care about, but I know that at times in your life, it has upset you, right? Not being respected.
Yeah. It used to, because, the two main careers I had, working in the technical end of TV and being a truck driver, national over-the-road truck driver, those roles in many ways are invisible roles, meaning that you don't often get recognition unless something goes wrong.
Absolutely.
And if everything goes right, nobody knows you exist. So in many ways, you don't feel respected sometimes in those invisible roles. And I have to say, there was a time where that probably bothered me more than it should have.
Right. So what you said is absolutely right. In a country, right, in general, or in an organization, I can tell you that in my organization, if nobody pays attention to the janitorial staff, unless something is not working or something is dirty, or even in my office, right, I have to give all credit to my assistants because if I'm out, nobody knows. But if they're out, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, and I'll go to my trucking career now. Like, everybody wants the things that trucks bring. It's like basically point to anything in your house and ask yourself, how did it get to the place that I bought it? A truck brought it. But so everybody wants the service that trucks and truck drivers supply. But they think of the trucks as a nuisance. They don't want them around, or they don't want a truck stop built near their neighborhood. So that's kind of frustrating, where you want and need the service, but you just don't want the people who provide that service to be seen or appreciated.
So I guess here we have two sides of the same coin, right? On the one hand, we need to learn that, you don't have to be appreciated all the time, and doing a good job should be enough reward. But at the same time, look around and appreciate people who do things that perhaps you are not paying attention to, you're ignoring.
Yeah. But I think that as I've gotten older, that I've seen how I let that bother me too much. I ask myself, do I really need the appreciation of others as I've gotten older? And I see now that I allowed it to bother me more than I perhaps should have.
That's an important lesson.
So this next one is something that a lot of smart people struggle with, and unfortunately, we're not the exception here. It's winning arguments.
Yeah, but I'm smarter. Can I win that argument?
We'll let you have that one today, but, for the sake of the viewers.
But that is actually a good point, right? So I think, through the years, right, we think that whatever we're thinking is the right thing. So we try to convince somebody else, and that's how an argument starts. But as we've gotten older, we realize that, those little things, we just let them go. And perhaps we turn them into something fun. And we turn maybe something that
We
could
do
have
that.
become an argument into something,
Yeah,
humorous.
we've gotten pretty good at making jokes out of things that could have potentially become an argument at another time of our life.
That's for sure.
So, and that sort of makes it fun. So, but I know just in witnessing other people arguing, and unfortunately, the way I was when I was much younger, some people, I think, argue to dominate rather than to understand.
And that is, I guess, more common too in personal relationships, right? Because I can tell you that in a professional setting, you have those guardrails that won't allow you to, escalate something into a true argument, and then you have more motivation to compromise.
Yeah, in a personal relationship, you have that familiarity, and like you said, that in a professional setting, that has the guardrails. When you're so familiar with somebody, those guardrails just don't exist, so you're more apt to allow the argument to go places that it maybe shouldn't go.
For sure.
I think life is just better all around if you can just not feel the need to win every argument. It's just not that important.
Although I'm usually right.
And see, I'm just going to let that go. Well, we were both young adults in our 20s during the 80s, and that was the era when all the guys wanted to look like Arnold, and well, since the dawn of time, women have always been concerned with their body image. But so body image is our next topic of things that maybe don't matter as much now as they used to.
Right. So I remember early in my teaching career, when you're in front of a class, right? You people are paying attention to everything. So I remember once a student of mine said, "Teacher, I think that those earrings go better with that other outfit that you wore." They knew exactly what my outfits were, my jewelry. They would pay attention to the color of my nails. In fact, once we actually had a vote in class to see what they prefer, straight hair or curly hair. Sometimes you are kind of like under the microscope.
So I've heard some people say that, people aren't noticing as much as you think they are, but that story kind of turns that theory on its ear.
For sure.
So at some point, appearance starts to matter less in life. So when did that point? Appearance is still important, obviously, but when did that turn come for you?
So I think for me, when I realized that having a strong body was more important than having the perfect size or the perfect weight, I want to grow old strong, right? And independent and capable. And, I want my muscles to be strong. So more than a specific size or a specific weight. So
Yeah.
I think probably in my late 40s, early 50s.
That's late 40s is probably the first time I noticed that my body was beginning to change just a little bit. And I was still strong and in good shape in my late 40s, early 50s. But by the time I got to late 50s, there was no denying it. It's like, it just didn't matter if I spent 24 hours a day in the gym. I'm just not going to get the result. I'm never going to look like I did in my 30s again. So I think at some point in life, you just have to accept that and say that, it's important to feel good and to be healthy and to maintain a high quality of life as we get older. And that's a lot more important than how you look.
And to be careful, right? Because sometimes for people who are too focused on appearances or body image, there's a temptation of fixing things. And we both know a friend of ours who, you know, has continued, fixing things and doing some plastic
Yeah.
surgery
Yeah.
there. And then you don't look like yourself anymore.
Yeah.
So this is a warning also for younger women, right?
Hmm.
Careful with all of those changes because, you want to continue being happy and strong and value health, not so much appearances.
Yeah, and I just think you just don't allow body image to take up more mental space than it deserves.
For sure. Most people are improvising more than they admit. The older you get, the more obvious that becomes. But there's a reason why people say, fake it till you make it.
Yeah, well, I've heard it a different way. Like, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. So I think there is some merit to those sayings. It's like, I think in some regards, we do kind of have to fake it till we make it. You can't just go around acting like,
I don't
you.
know.
I don't know. I don't know. But the wise person knows how to strike the balance between fake it till you make it and saying, having the confidence to say, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard for people to figure out what that balance should be.
Right. So think about a job interview, right? That is a great example of that balance. You
Mm-hmm.
want to sound confident enough so that they offer you the job, but at the same time, you don't want to lie, right? And not say that you
Or
actually have experience
or
in
come
something that you
across
don't.
or come across as a know-it-all.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's not an easy thing to strike that balance sometimes between fake it till you make it and I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And younger people may think that older people have it all figured out, but the truth is that we're always learning, right? Even in my
Mm-hmm.
job now, I have been doing this for over 10 years. Every week, there's something new that I have never seen before. And so I try to, convey that confidence to younger colleagues who, yeah, you don't have to know everything on day one. It'll take a minute, and then even then, you will always find something, and you can say, I don't know, let me find out.
Yeah, and to paraphrase a great philosopher, I think it was Socrates who said something like, "It is the wise man who is confident enough to admit when he doesn't know."
Mm-hmm.
So,
Very true.
so when did you first realize that adults were mainly just winging it?
That's a great question. So I don't know, maybe on the job, probably as an administrator, right? When you
Hmm.
hear something and you already know, it's like, wait a second, that's not right. But they
Yeah,
sounded so confident that they almost convince you, right?
yeah.
Probably then.
So why do you think people feel so much pressure to look certain all the time?
Well, especially when you have a certain title, right? You want to sound,
Hmm.
sure of what you're saying so that people actually listen to you.
So we're both starting to get a little older now. So do you think getting older actually does make you wiser or just less impressed with fake certainty?
I think the second. I think you're definitely less
Yeah,
impressed.
yeah. So maybe that's what getting older gives you.
Not perfection, just perspective.
And you stop wasting so much energy on the wrong things,
And you start noticing the things that really matter.
like your health, your loved ones, your time,
Being kind when it would be easier not to be,
or being reliable when somebody needs you.
and taking the time to appreciate the simple moments.
Because those are the things that actually stay with you.
Not the job title or your bank account or the argument you won.
Just the people, the moments, and how you treated others.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And don't forget to pay attention to the things that matter before they become the things you miss.
You know, younger people might watch this and may think that we have it all figured out.
That would be unfortunate.
Should we warn them?
Nah, let them figure it out the same way we did.